Good morning guys, I'm Chris and welcome back to this Sunday's episode of Rift Amps. Two rocks, both owned by the same customer, a good customer of mine, both with the same issue, which is they both kind of fizzled out and died. Lights are on now, but nobody is home, so they turn on, but there is no output. That's not to say that the causes of that are the same on both amps, but he's as he is a working musician, we need to get these things sorted quickly. Now, the Studio Pro, this one here, is his main gigging amp. This is his workhorse, so this is the one that's most important. So we're going to look at this one today, see if we can work out why it's failed, what's gone on, do the whole workout, etc, etc. The Vintage Deluxe in the background, he bought the amp second hand. It did one gig and then failed. Now that this might not be a two-rock problem. It might be a valve problem. It might be user error. We don't know. But he did say, unfortunately, the amp is just too powerful for his use application. So he is going to be selling it once it is fixed. So we'll probably get onto that one later on in another video, but we're going to look at the Studio Pro 22 today, see if we can work out why this thing has no output. We might be able to do some signal flow testing, see if we can work out where the signal is dropping out, and hopefully get this thing sorted and turned around. I mean, the dream, of course, always is to do it no parts required, but you never know what's going on. But it's a working amp for a touring musician, and it needs to be fixed. Right, so it is, for those that don't know, and I can't remember I've seen inside one of these before, but it's a single channel amplifier, single input, 3-band EQ, treble, middle bass, and the treble's got a pull for a bright switch, gain and master control. We've got a reverb send and return, and we've got a contour switch, which most likely is a presence control that's been relabeled. Most likely, I'm not sure until we have a look inside. Got an on and standby switch on the front and a lovely dual light. Vox style cloth. Looks really good, this. Spin it around. This particular one has got a Celestion G12 gold in the back. I really like these speakers when they're broken in properly. Reverb tank in the bottom. We've got all the correct labelling on the back here. Make this thing legal and safe. We've got our mains fuse on the back that's easily accessible. And I can confirm it has not blown. On-off switch on the rear as well. We've got 4, 8 and 16 ohm outputs. And this is a 2 6v6 amplifier. 2 6v6s with 22 watts. No prizes for guessing. It's probably quite deluxe reverby. Got an effects loop as well with a return level on, and it's got a bright switch on there on a pull thing as well. We've got a control here called pickup loading, which I have to admit I'm not entirely sure what that does. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 position switch, and this particular one is serial number 1075. Let's get this thing plugged in to the bench. We'll turn it on at the back. Just double check it is an 8 ohm speaker. It is. We're in the 8 ohms. Turn it on. Dual light comes on. I'll start with all my controls at noon. I can hear some transformer hum. Should probably get my glasses on. Okay. Well, I've turned it on, and there appears to be some output. Gain control is scratchy. Let me get the other microphone, one moment. I'll put you up against the speaker. So we'll put the master up full. There's definitely output there. Gain control. Definitely makes noise. Treble control seems to work. Mid control's making some change. Huh. I guess we need to get a guitar, don't we? Also, you guys may have noticed lately, I'm really enjoying playing my black Les Paul, built by the wonderful Anthony Ryder. Sorry, these microphones don't pick up loud volumes particularly well. So the audio that you're going to hear isn't great, and I'm not setting up the proper microphone. Well, what's wrong with that? It sounds great to me. It's a little bit noisy, tiny bit noisy. Don't know, nothing wrong with that. I think what we need to do is we'll just stress test it on the bench. Make sure there's no issues with it over time. We'll vibrate the hell out of it. Make sure maybe it's just not a filament issue, so the valves were lost their heaters and they turned off. Sounds great. Don't you love it when this happens? When you just get an amp that comes in for repair and it just seems to be okay. Is it failing to come out of standby mode, do you think? I don't know. Don't know. Well, this is not the video we were hoping to make. Right, I will. I'm going to take this part anyway, give it a good health check. He wants it serviced because I don't think he said he's had it serviced in a while. So we'll go through it and see what's what. But yeah, it is working at the moment. Right, let's get this thing apart then. So speaker out. Reverb connections up at the back, and red is on the right as I'm looking from the rear. There's two connections, a red and a white. The red one is on the right. Okay, do I need to remove this panel to get the chassis out? No, I could do it if I remove the valves first, but I don't want to do that. Oh, this is running out of battery. Oh, just found something in the bottom of the cabinet. Make sure it's okay to show off. Yeah, there's an Anne's Cottage Surf Shop's loyalty card. I love what you find in the bottom of guitar amplifiers. Also, we haven't done a weather update for a while. It's the first day in ages where we've actually had rain. It's a cold, grey, miserable day, and it's still August. Because we've had pretty much an amazing summer in terms of weather. But there is a storm on its way, apparently. So, yeah, but today, as you can tell, it's the first day in a long time we've actually had to put a jumper on, or a hoodie. Because it feels cold. It's not t-shirt and shorts weather. Well, it's still shorts weather, but it's certainly not warm. Right, rear panel off. Also, I do like these rear panels. Do you know how frustrating it must be to do the tolaxing around that circle in one piece? I mean, look at that. That takes some skill. Anyway, also, being that I'm on a farm here, we do get field mice in the building every now and again, and unfortunately, I have a couple in here. So where's Tremolo Cat when you need her? She hasn't been up this way for a while. She needs to come hunting up this end of the farm. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top. Yep. Okay. There we go. Look, the shielding is on the chassis itself rather than on the roof of the cabinet. I do like. Right, one moment. Well, I guess the racing's going all right, isn't it? You know, trophy collection's looking good. We actually messed up the calculations on the scoring. The official championship table is out, and I am currently joint second on points, not 1 point ahead, but on countback, I will actually be third in the championship. So I have to go and do the final round because I need to go and score at least 8 points to, so then I drop my 7-point score. It's a drop score championship, you see. So yeah, I have yet to absolutely confirm second in the championship. So yeah, I need to go and make sure I finish in whatever position gets me a minimum of 8 points at Donington Park in October. So anyway, we haven't done an update on all the amps in the queue or what's going on. So I thought we'd go through them. That way you guys can see what's coming up, etc, 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 and stuff going on. So this is the twin reverb that we're doing at the moment. So that chassis is already in the workshop being worked on. But what I do is, depending on how much space I've got, I just put all of the hardware and stuff back with the cabinets. Sometimes I'll put everything, that's the twin reverb stuff, in the back of the cabinet, and I keep it all together so it doesn't get lost and mixed up, because you'd be surprised how easy it is to do that. So that's the twin reverb. More updates on that later in the video. That's the 2-rock that I've just shown you now, chassis on the bench. Down here, that's the Selmer treble and bass, the Crocskin one. That's nearly done now. Nearly done. I've got a couple more tiny jobs to do on that, and that's done. That's the French Lazy J that's in for the full rebuild, everything. Waiting on a new batch of transformers to turn up so I can do that. Here's the other 2-rock, the second one that came in at the same time as this one, so we'll get onto that in another video. Down here, this is a Marshall DSL 50. This is actually a bit of history on this one. This is Mrs. Riff's old touring amp that she sold a couple of years back. That's now come in for repair. Unfortunately, it is lights are on, nobody's home, so there's no output, but it does switch on. So we are going to go through that. But yeah, that's Mrs. Riff's old touring amp. That's the ProSonic that we need to get on with at some point. Again, I've got some bits on order for that, so there will be updates on that in the future. This down here is the cabinet for Ollie's Dual Showman. So that's that. And this is a cool one behind that we do need to get on with. Foot switch might give it away, but this is a Marshall 2550 model 2550. Now I believe these are what became the Silver Jubilees. It's a really cool amp. It's in for a service, so we'll get to that at some point in the queue. So that's going to be on the channel shortly. But I had a call yesterday from a customer, local customer, never been in before, who said, I've got a Fender Twin, single input, that just stopped working and blew a fuse. Now, I can't begin to tell you how big and heavy this thing is. 2x12, of course, but it's a monstrously deep cabinet. I think we measured about 13 inches deep. Interesting thing, the mains fuse in it was blown. We stuck another fuse in it. Let me come around and show you from this side. It's had some replacement speakers in it already. We stuck a new mains fuse in it, turned it on. The dual light on the front does not turn on, but the two green LEDs on the back that tell you that the screen fuse in the back is okay, both turned on. So the amp does turn on, but the dual light doesn't work, and I noticed that none of the heaters worked. Now that's probably because the dual light is on the same power rail as the heaters, as is pretty normal for these things. Now, I've never seen the single input one of these, and I believe these are late 90s, early 2000s, so a new amp for me as well. Really interesting, really cool. So we'll get onto this at some point. but yeah, it's an absolutely humongous. It weighs, you know, the same as a small star. This thing. This is ridiculous. So yeah, look forward to that on the channel. Right, we'll start with the top side then. We've got a lovely chassis. Very nice indeed. Sorry, make sure you can see that. Belton preamp sockets. Belton octal sockets for the output valves. No valve rectifier on this model. So inside we expect to see some rectification diodes, probably 1N4007s. We've got this mains transformer here. It looks roughly deluxe reverb size, same with the output transformer, same with the reverb transformer. Very nice indeed. This particular amp has got the TAD Summer of 69 6v6s. I turned autofocus off and now I need to refocus. There you go. These are Russian valves, but they do sound really, really good. So I'm a big fan of those. Some of you keep complaining that my hands set the autofocus off. So I turn it off and then everything goes out of focus. I can't win. That's probably a bias pot there. Looking through, yeah, I can see the adjustment inside. Okay, so what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 preamp valves. Right. One thing I want to check, just while we're in this orientation, is I just want to have a look at the pins in the octal sockets. Make sure none of them are bent or twisted. They're all present and correct. Yep, excellent. Good news. Zoom you back out. Right, let's spin this thing over. So this has got, they've done the Faraday cage, rather than putting the aluminium foil on top of the cabinet, they have this separate panel here, which is 6 screws to undo. There is some lovely engineering on 2-rock amps. Oh, that's tight. Right then, so what do we see then? Oh, it's American, isn't it? September the 23rd, 2013. So quite an old amp. And look how well this thing has aged. It looks almost brand new inside. See, this is what I mean. This is a nicely built amplifier. Almost. So it is labelled on the back, Roche compliant, CE marked. It's got the Roche sign there. AC 240 volts. So it's built for the UK market and labelled as such. So does this thing comply as the rules were written, as the law required back in 2013, which is the slightly older regulations, but to be honest, there's most of it carried over. So regarding our main supply, we've got an IEC socket on the back, as you saw. Yeah, there it is. So that's the disconnect device, which means our on-off switch at the rear here doesn't need to break both the live and the neutral. It can just break the live. You can do both if you want, but because the IEC socket itself is the disconnect device, we don't need, so your on-off switch can only switch L1. Okay, so let's see what they're doing in this particular amplifier. Okay, so there's your IEC socket. And we failed at the first hurdle. We failed at the first hurdle because, stop the wobbling, your 2 terminals are not shielded. Never mind. But both the live and the neutral, which should be marked with the correct color coding, both go over to the on-off switch. Okay, the live go directly to the back end of the fuse holder, then from the fuse holder to the switch. And they've done this the other way round. Oh dear. I mean, it's better than I've seen before, but still not slightly correct. At least they are, I mean, at least they've tried, right? So that needs If this was sold as a new amplifier today, they couldn't do it in this configuration. All right, which is a shame to see. And all of these terminals should be shielded. So there's no risk. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There should be absolutely no risk that somebody can accidentally touch them with their thumb when they're servicing the amplifier. That's the law. Anyway, enough of that, because apart from bits and pieces like that, as I said, it is a very nice looking amplifier. So Beth Dickman, if that's the whoever built this amplifier, good for you. Nice and neat, look. Nice and neat. We've got nicely done solder connections, nicely done wiring. Very nicely indeed. What they've probably done is they've probably built this to US regulations, thinking that it's okay, and didn't quite check exactly what needs to be done for at the time, the European market. Right, what else can we see? It looks like this resistor, relative to this one, has got hot. So that resistor has been running hot. And if I look at those solder connections on it, they look okay. So maybe that valve, the one in this socket, this 6V6, has got an issue. What else do we see as we look around this amplifier? There you go, that's a nicer image, isn't it? Sorry. Not much. Not much, to be honest. I mean, it's got the IC caps in it. But you see, I wonder if part of the reason of the failures of these on Fender amps is just that they're too stressed in them. I mean, these are looking... Oh no, spoke too soon. That one is leaking, and that one is leaking. You see? Starting to spew their guts, that one and that one. So they're going to need doing, so we're going to do all 4. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. It will be, I would have thought F&Ts we'll go for. Do I see anything else? Well, let's look at this front panel, shall we? So they've gone for a bus bar grounding scheme for all of these pots, and the shielded wire as well. Lovely separate bus bar all the way along. Nice radius turns there into a dedicated input grounding point there. Very nice. Oh look, and they've got welded corners as well. Fantastic. Big fan of this. Got a big filter can over here. This is not a IC, it's a Ruby. Should we check the end of that cap? That one. You might not be able to see that on camera, sorry. But it does look ever so slightly like it's starting to bulge at the end there. It's definitely a convex end cap. Might not be coming across on camera, but it certainly looks that way. Also, it's double ridged look. Normally this indent here is on the positive end, but they've got one on the negative side as well, which might be confusing. So maybe if we're doing the other caps, we'll do that one as well, just to be safe and sure. Some 100 ohm resistors for an artificial centre tap. Is there anything else that I see? No, but look, they've put all the values on the board as well to make changing them or servicing them easy. Slight bit of tarnishing on that tip there, so that's going to need a good clean up and service. All part of standard servicing jobs, really. Same with the speaker outs. There's the bias pot, as I mentioned earlier. Tell you what we should do. Should we measure the value of that resistor? And the one that looks like it's got hot. $523, so that's out of spec, so we'll get that one changed out. Well, we'll probably just put a nice matched pair in. Right, cool. We need to get this thing on the test bench, measure its output, don't we? Okay, up and running on the test bench. You'll see on the screen I've got the oscilloscope trace being shown. As always, injecting a 1 kilohertz, 150 millivolt sine wave into the front end of the amplifier. 3-band EQ, so I've got the mid control all the way up, the presence control all the way up, bass and treble fully counterclockwise, master is all the way up, and just with the gain control, we are driving the amplifier. And we'll find the point where we just get some clipping, back it back down. We call that 14 volts RMS output into 8 ohms, which puts us up on the little chart. 14 volts into 8 ohms is 24.5 watts output. I mean, that's really healthy. That is really healthy indeed. So I'm going to leave this running for the time being. At rated output, it's pulling 95 watts out of the wall. That's great. That's really great. So I'm going to leave this running, soak testing, see if we can get this thing to play up, cause any problems, whatever. What I'm looking for is a drop in output, because that's what he said happened, and then he couldn't get any sound out of it. So we need to try and get this thing to play up. But at the moment, it's running and sounding great, albeit, you know, a slight bit of background noise that we can certainly do things with. And we found some work inside that we will need to get sorted. Also, I did notice there's no HT fuse on this amp, which would be a nice addition, I would have thought. But it's not the end of the world. So, oh, there you go. I just messed with that pickup loading control. And the output's gone, you can see on the scope. What's going on there? What is going on there? I just tweaked that and the output stopped. We're getting, you can see on the scope we can get some reaction. Oh, make you love it when things happen. Right, one moment. Hey. Oh, it's the input. It's the input socket. I can wobble it in and out. I think our input socket is dodgy. Well, there you go. Right, so we've got a dodgy input socket. I have to hold that in a certain position. There you go. And our signal's back. Well, there you go. That's how you do it. Right, so I've got a list now. Oh, it gets dropped out again. Sort that input socket out, whether that's clean and adjust or replace. We'll look into it. I want to do the cap job on it because they're leaky. Need to replace those screen droppers. Go through, give the thing a good service, even though it's quite clean inside. You know, very little dust, hardly anything at all. We still clean all the pots, tighten all the grounds, etc., 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 etc. Hopefully, keep this thing reliable. It's actually been feeling really autumnal lately. You know, there's definitely a change in the air where the temperature's the same, but you can tell it's not got that summer feeling to it. But that's all turned around and it's nice and hot and sunny again. So I'm just having a walk up the farm on my lunch break just to enjoy some of the weather, because I had to put my hoodie on for the last couple of days. It's been quite chilly. So yeah, trying to make the most of the last of the summer. September's just around the corner, which means pumpkin spice lattes and, you know, leaves on the ground and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're just enjoying the last of the sunshine. Although, to be fair, looking at the weather forecast, it doesn't look too bad. So hopefully the next couple of weeks are still going to be okay. But yeah, who knows? Who knows? Let's see if we can find Bob the horse. He's normally up in this field. But I do not see him. Is he over in this field? Not sure. Where are you, Bob? Well, I couldn't find Bob the horse, but I thought we'd come up and check the last of the piggies, because this is the last of them. They've done 3, is it batches? Is that what you call them? Is that how you say it? 3 batches of piggos. And this is the last of them, so these are going to go off at some point. Aren't they beautiful? It's an electric fence, so they're not going to come too close. And there's one over there too. I don't know the difference between the different pig types, whether these are sausage or bacon pigs or if they're the same thing, I don't know, but these are the ones that they all choose to breed. But yeah, the last of them, so we won't have any more now until next year when the little ones arrive. These are almost there. Aren't they beautiful though? So look, they've got loads in this enclosure and just the one over here. Don't know. I don't know enough about pig farming. Oh, that one is sitting on that one's head. What are you doing? Get off him. Yes. Come see what these guys are up to. Yeah. Oink, oink. Ha ha ha. Aren't they wonderful things, eh? Right, back to the workshop. Right, update on the 100 watt black panel basement that I'm building for myself. And last time we were messing around with the board, working out the best place to put things, etc, etc. Because obviously, well, not obviously, for those that don't know, I'm using this twin reverb chassis. And so I'm having to make compromises as to where things go, because the holes are already drilled and punched in this chassis. So I've got some tweaking to do, and I can't put everything exactly where I want it. So what I did was an initial board design, which is an AA864 black panel basement with some slight revisions and changes to make it 100 watt. The other thing I'm doing is I'm putting the filter stack inside the main chassis rather than underneath a doghouse on the outside. Someone asked whether I was worried about heat damaging the caps. No, absolutely not. They're completely what they're designed for, is how they work, is how many amps have done it for years and years and years. It's just the way Fender decided to do it. On these particular amps, and you might argue that on the Tweed amps, where the filter caps would have been rather than off to one side on this plane, like I'm planning to do it, they were kind of like this, vertically above the valves and getting cooked before, and they were fine. So no, it's not really an issue. Anyway, we chopped the board up, as you remember, and we were just moving things around and working out the best position for things to go. And what I'm trying to do is to optimize wire runs between the board and the sockets. I want obviously the shortest wire runs possible. So between the socket, the valve sockets down here, and the tone stack and the pots and the input up here. And here is my, this micro board here is for the bass channel. The only changes I'm making to this is I'm adding a mid control to it. Now, that does require some slight revisions, which I will be doing. But here's my, if we can see on the top here, here's my two inputs. Now, they don't need to be anywhere near the board because I'm going to be running shielded cable over, so that's not a problem. But here's going to be my volume, treble, middle, bass. And obviously, I would like, here's my tone stack here, to have the shortest runs possible. If I slammed it over here, I'm now going to have to run wires further along than if I just move the board over. I've got shorter wire runs there. And because of these valve sockets are already punched, it means these wire runs can also be shorter. So that's roughly where I want that to go, around there. This is the second channel, the guitar channel. There's not a lot going on at all in this channel. I mean, look, it's only 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 components for that second channel, the guitar channel. Really simple, really easy. And we're going to use V3 for that. You can see that's roughly where it is. Phase inverter board. So this is the phase inverter circuitry, the input and the output. We're going to use V4 for the phase inverter. And then I've got my filter stack and my rectifier diodes here. Now, I don't know why I didn't think of this before, because this is what I do on a lot of my builds, is I take my preamp filter node and often I will move it over there like that, and that means I can then shift everything over to a more optimal place like that. Okay, the totem stack here is for your output output valve anodes or plates. This one here is for the it's post choke, and it's for the screens for the output valves, and this one here is for the phase inverter. Well, it makes sense that the phase inverter node is next to the phase inverter circuitry itself, right? So that's kind of the rough reconfiguration that I did. So we can take that away, and now I've redrawn it and printed it out again as I would like it to be in that new configuration. And again, I've made some changes. Now, some of you will spot some values on here that don't particularly make sense. No, that's by design, because I've got, until I've built this thing, done some actual real world voltage measurements, I won't be able to know exactly what values I want them to be, because I will be tweaking these to get the high voltage, the B plus rail voltages where I want them, the operating point of every valve in the circuit where I want them to be. So I've just kind of used rough values for things like that at the moment. And again, you can calculate that stuff, but until you actually get the circuit up and running, there will be changes to make. So don't fret about stuff like that too much at the moment. This is what prototyping is about. You start with approximate values, and then you adjust from there. So look, this is looking quite nice now. So I've got my preamp where I want it. Lovely. So I'm with the bass channel where I want it. I've got my guitar channel where I want it. The second channel. Got my phase inverter where I want it. And it's actually nice that these two are separated by an unused valve. And I've got my filter stack where I want it. And we're going to have nice space here to run our signal wires on and in. So this is board version 2, not the final version. I'm going to keep making tweaks and changes to it, but you can see we're already now optimizing this for this chassis. What you'd normally do if this was a blank chassis with absolutely nothing going on in it whatsoever, for example, like this, is you would optimize your board design how you wanted it to be, and then drill and punch the chassis around it, right? That would be, well, that's what I usually do, and I find that gives the best results. But because I'm working to a pre-punch chassis, I'm having to work the other way around. So there's a little bit more thinking going on. So what we're going to have along the front, it's going to be very simple. It's going to be very simple indeed. I also bought some new Sharpies. And so we're going to have our two inputs, high and low, on the bass channel. This is the deep switch. Then we have volume, treble, middle, bass on that channel. Okay, channel separator, high and low for the guitar channel. This is a bright switch. And then we have exactly the same on this channel. We're going to have volume, treble, middle, bass. Now, the only other thing that I was thinking about, and is maybe we'll have a presence control. I haven't decided yet whether we actually do a presence control on this or not. I don't think it will need one. I don't think adding one is going to be a particular benefit to me as a user, because I'm going to be using this for bass. But if it was a guitar amp, it might be beneficial to add a presence control, which naturally would go there. So we'll put presence question mark, right? These two will be unused. It's got the extra holes because the twin reverb obviously has reverb and tremolo, so they're not going to be used. Okay, and then we're going to have my Rift logo, something along like that. Okay, so that's the front panel. On the rear, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. So we're going to have, I don't need the reverb and tremolo holes, obviously. I've got my two speaker outs. So I'm going to have, I think on this particular one, I'm going to have 4 ohm and an 8 ohm. I'm not going to have an extension socket. I'm going to have just an on-off. Not going to have a standby switch. Now, that's normally a fuse hole, which we're not going to use. And I am going to have, rather than a hardwired mains cable, I'm going to have my IEC socket. I haven't driven that very well, have I? But it's going to have the built-in fuse holder as well. All right, that looks terrible, doesn't it? All right, that's not the symbol for a fuse. Ignore me. So that's kind of how that's going to look. I think that'll be great. As I said, I've already scavenged transformer set. So these are, this is what I'm going to use for it. So I've shown you this before. This is the output transformer. It's the Habo unit that I bought from Tube Amp Doctor ages ago, and I actually use it in another build. It's a very nice transformer. The power transformer, again, another TAD unit. This is their twin reverb one. It's perfectly capable of running this amp. It's going to be great. They do sound good. And the choke is one of my old UK made ones. So 125 C1A spec, you know, 4 Henry, 90 milliamps, kind of standard thing. But that's the choke for that. So that's the transformer set. Belton's in the preamp, ceramics in the output for the sockets. It's going to be CTS pots along the front row, which are, I've already got in a bag, although I have pilfered some for something else, so I'm going to have to get some others. But yeah, this is coming on. Bloody autofocus, excuse me. We're starting to make good progress on this. Things are coming on. I can't wait to actually start building it, but as with all of my own personal projects, they do have to be put to one side and done in my personal time, because there is paid work to do. And unfortunately, as we reach September, that is my busiest season for repair stuff that comes through the door. All the summer tours and festivals are over. Everyone needs their equipment servicing and turning around, because the Christmas tours start rehearsals late October and into November. So yeah, repair season is coming up again, and I've got a lot to do. Update on this AL SIG. It's now pretty much done. I've just got one or two tiny bits of wiring jobs to do. and finishing off bits and pieces, and then I can get this one fired up on the bench. So good progress on this. I need to put it to one side though, because now I do need to start on the twin reverb. Bear with me, running out of space. So where were we with this? Yeah, we gave this thing a visual the other day, and you know my rules. You know my way of doing things by now, which is always get your main supply and get your high voltage supply and your B plus rail as good as it can be. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to need to start with the cap job under the doghouse. So some of you eagle-eyed viewers will also have spotted that this wire here, this brown wire, has been pinched by the doghouse for many, many years. So it's not damaged in any way. There's no exposed strands from the inside, but it might be a case that we just replace that out of abundance of caution. Anyway, we'll zoom you back out again, because we'd like to give you an overview, and we need to get this thing desoldered and out of the chassis, so we can obviously replace the caps, give it a full clean up, give it a full inspection. But yeah, we've definitely got our work cut out for us. So as with anything that you're working on, make sure you document it properly, because we absolutely do not want to end up in a position where we forget what's going on. So easiest way to do that, just take a photo with an iPad or a phone, just so you have a record of how it was. Because I can't tell you the amount of slightly different configurations there are on amplifiers, especially Fenders. They're not always done the same. They're not consistent over the years. There were always changes and refinements, and you don't want to get yourself turned around, mixed up, confused. So, soldering iron is nice and warmed up, I think. Got my needle nose. Can you see what's going on? This mount just keeps moving. I'm so sorry. And we can start to make progress. So, most of you guys know this, but before you start doing any work, clean the tip of your soldering iron. Some people use a sponge. I like to use these brass shavings. You get a really nice clean tip going on. These old Fenders were built with leaded solder, so I can use leaded solder in the repair of this. So just tip my tip. And I'm just going to start disconnecting things. Because I want to get this whole board out. So the easiest one to do first might actually be this brown one. Also, I apologise if my bald head gets in the way of the shot. Unfortunately, with overhead shots, sometimes I need to get an aerial view myself. Also, some of you have been complaining about the autofocus, you know, moving like that. But without it, things will stay out of focus if I focus on one thing and then need to show you something else. It's because, and I think this is pretty obvious, but obviously some of you don't get this. The work takes priority over the camera work, right? So, yeah, you need to forgive me if sometimes it does that, but I need to make sure that the work I'm doing is good more than the quality of the camera work. So autofocus just is easier, and sometimes you get that it will focus on what it thinks it wants you to see rather than something else. All right, so we're getting there. Now those three are out. Get that one out as well. And get those out the way. orange one. There we go. And the last one is this black one that comes up here. Is that all of my wires? Oh, excuse me. I think it is. Right. Where's my screwdriver? Here she is. So we've got the two screws holding this in. We can take one out. And we'll take the other one out. Unless I'm missing one. No, I don't think so. Oh, I am. There's a white one there, look. A white wire just in here that I've missed. There you go. Okay. Get those two out. That one out. Got the white and green over here. Excuse me. And finally, the 4 out of the bottom corner here. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, we'll inspect that in a minute. Also take off the underboard. And what I'm going to do, it's pretty obvious which way around it goes, I think. Yeah. You'd have to be an idiot to put it in upside down. That one's surprisingly clean, isn't it? Just, you know, a little bit of melted wax and stuff. We'll give it a good clean up. Underside of the chassis. Not bad. Okay, let's move this out of the way then. And here's the board. So we have two 100 microfarad 350 volt Mallory caps. You see this one is, it's got a bulge there and it's starting to, in fact that's not far off going bang actually. And then this one got a bulge as well, so they are well overdue for replacement. Dated 1973, so probably the originals for the amplifier. The screen node has been done before, but it's an IC cap, and we're redoing the whole board anyway, so it doesn't matter that that's just broken off. Did he actually solder that in place, or did he just tack it? No, he just tacked it. Same here, look, same with these. He's done two, rather than use the correct values, he's just put two 33s in series and just tack them into place. That's hot. Okay. So they're off. We've got our two droppers here. Should we get the meter and buzz them out and see what they measure? The droppers on in your filter stack often get really abused, so it's often worth replacing them. Can you see values? There you go. Make sure you can actually see what we're doing. Right, so red, 222. So that's 22 with 2 zeros. So it should be a 2K2. And it's measuring 2.38. So it has gone slightly high, as expected. and this is a 10k brown, black, orange. So 1, 0, and then red, orange, 3 more 0. So 10. So 1, 0, and then 3 more. 1, 2, 3. That's 10k. And that measures 11.12k. So again, that one's gone high. Let's check these ones out then. We'll get the totem stacks out of the way. And we've got these 220k resistors here. When you've got a totem stack, these are balancing resistors, so they split the load equally between each. Make sure you can still see between each cap. I move that. Can you see? That's better. So 220k, 232, 233k, 235k, 238. So they've gone high. And this one as well. 231. Because of this silver band, they are actually still within tolerance. But as we're rebuilding this board, they will be done again. We'll do them properly. So let's just keep going. Boop. 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 Just get these all out. You saw me do the filter board on the Tremolux, so you kind of know the process now. But for a silver panel lamp, this is incredibly clean, so I'm not expecting there to be many. Well, I don't see a reason at the moment to actually replace this with FR4. We'll clean it up and test it, but at the moment I think this will go again. Now, I always give all of the old components back to my customers. So I'll keep them in a bag and they can get them back when they collect the amp. And they can decide to keep them or they can decide to get rid of them. But you always get them back. Okay, is that the worst of it? Looks like it. It's the same process as before then. We'll get this thing fully cleaned up. Got more wax on this one to clean up at the same time. You can have all these old bits back and then we'll rebuild that probably in another episode with brand new components. But I need to go on and get some brand new caps, F&Ts most likely, on order. Just finished the final assembly on this PR6, black panel PR6. I normally do my black panel stuff in this, what we call tuxedo look, the transitional look, which means you get the wheat cloth over the black Tolex. You still get the black panel, but rather than having the witch hat knobs, we do it with the dials and the cream cupcake knobs. I think it's a really classy look. So yeah, 6-watt model, this one. It's two 6v6s in push-pull, putting out 6 watts. You get your IEC socket, you get your on-off switch, 8-ohm speaker out with an extension cab. You've got your foot switch, which I've shown you on the front there, plugs in the back. Obviously, you've got your reverb connections. I now fit these with the wonderful Celestion A-type speaker. Beautifully American voiced. Big fan of this speaker. It does that thing wonderfully well. So big fan of this. This one is about to be boxed up and shipped out. Next PR I'm doing is another 6 actually, but it's going to be a brown one. So that comes in the brown Tolex with a wheat cloth, brown panel, brown knobs. Slightly different aesthetic. The circuit is different as well, so I put the brown panel preamp into this as well, but the output stage and whatnot is the same. But yeah, that's it, all done. all UK made cabinet, fully hand wired here by me in the workshop, as you've all seen. They do come out well. They do look good. Yeah, big fan of that. That's going to look great in somebody's home studio or on stage. I mean, it is loud enough to gig, you know, on those smaller gigs at 6 watts. And it is a bold 6 watts, and that's what I like about them. They take pedals beautifully well, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, doesn't that look great? Yeah, big fan. I'm always really proud when they come out and they look like this, and you think, yeah, that's a cool product. I do a cool job. I'm doing a cool thing. And some musician, whoever he or she is going to buy that and thoroughly enjoy it and get some great sounds and make music out of it. That's the cool thing, right? Somebody is going to write a tune on this one day, and that might even inspire somebody else to start playing music. So how cool is that? Hand wired in England, made in the UK, Rift PR6. Well, that's it then, guys. Thank you very much for watching once again. As always, please give this video a thumbs up. All your comments and questions down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you know when new videos come out. You'll notice I've been doing quite a few more videos out lately, trying to do something a little bit different with the channel. If you're feeling super generous like these guys have, why not join the channel? And I will catch you all at the next one.